Welcome to A Shot of Ag. I'm your host, Rob Sharkey. I am a farmer, but I also understand the importance of leadership. I've been through a lot of leadership training, and I have gotten a lot of good out of it. Today, we're going to talk to someone who's done the same. Matt Heberling from Owaneco, Illinois. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well.
Where in the great state of Illinois is Owaneco?
So it's really in the center of Christian County, so it'd be south, east of Springfield and southwest of Decatur.
Okay. So how long of a drive to Peoria?
A little over an hour and a half.
Okay. Did you make it okay?
Yep, everything was fine this morning.
Made it. Is that straight up 55?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
55 and then 155, so.
You are a senior research manager for the Illinois Answer Plot. Good night. Is that your title?
Senior research manager is the title, so within the division, Illinois Answer Plot, so we've got different teams. So I'm the crew lead for the Illinois Answer Plot team.
Well, what is that, the Answer Plot?
It's the research arm of Land O'Lakes, so like the butter company. So Winfield United's agronomy. So we are the research arm of Winfield United, doing a lot of corn, soybean performance trials, as well as some agronomy research.
Like just difference in fertilizer, difference in like what? What are you studying?
So, the true customer-facing arm, the data gets turned around real quick for traditional hybrid and variety testing. So, head-to-head comparisons on genetics. But then we're also doing a lot of work on corn characterization, learning what genetic families are responding to nitrogen rates, and also fungicide applications. So trying to just help make the farmer more efficient.
Yeah. So it's like different companies, or you're doing their corn?
Yep. So Winfield's a distribution partner for Bayer, Syngenta, BASF, and Brevant. So we're actually testing all their brands along with our own proprietary brand.
And do they bribe you? So like, when you're weighing my stuff, put the thumb on the scale?
They do not. I can honestly say, our data is very unbiased. We don't actually know the hybrid going through the combine, when it's going through. And
have you asked them? Maybe throw a little love my way and we'll see what
not.
happens?
We're very proud of our data quality and, the unbiased approach of it.
Why are you winking at me right now?
Just can't resist,
Okay, but you grew up on a farm, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you still help with the farm?
Yep, still help on the farm. So farming with my dad and my younger sister.
Fourth generation farmer. What all are you growing?
Corn, soybeans, wheat, hay, and cattle, beef cattle.
Oh, you got a little bit of everything, don't you?
Yep, never a dull moment.
Did you go to school somewhere?
I did. Started out at Joliet Junior College, associates, and then got my bachelor's of ag science from Western Illinois University.
Oh, okay. And then, what was the goal? What did you want to do?
So started out as an ag ed major. That's why I ultimately transferred to WIU, just so I liked their ag ed program. And as kind of was rolling around between junior and senior year, decided to switch things up and went to the agronomy major and ag science. So really didn't know what path exactly I wanted to take. I was talking with some people that were in the fraternity with me. Really admire the ag teachers and where they got me. Just kind of was looking at job opportunities and true potential. Just realized there's a lot more opportunities out there in the agronomy side.
Yeah, I absolutely love ag teachers, but I think per hour they're probably some of the lowest paid because those people put in so much time.
By far overworked, underpaid. And it's a lifestyle for them. They do it for the love of the students, and we really need them to make the next generation successful.
So your family farm. How much time do you get to go back and help the old man?
So, at this point, we're only row cropping around 100 acres, so, nothing super major, kind of nights and weekends. So we kind of help Dad, semi-retired now. Okay,
that's nice. And then how long have you been there at Winfield?
Just finished season number 16.
16 years, huh?
Yep, so I was fortunate, got hired as an intern right when I graduated. At that time, they were expanding the crews and got a full-time position on the Illinois team at that point, and I've watched my career progress up through into the manager role, and I'm now a senior manager.
Okay, that's very impressive. Did you have like a desire in agronomy? Is that something you just got there and kind of embraced, or have you always had that desire to understand plants?
I've always liked the plant aspect and the agronomy. I think where I really found that I liked with this job, starting out as an ag ed major within the plots, we're actually trying to learn something. And then as we're working with growers and our retail sellers, we're actually teaching them some of those findings. So it's really nice. I'm getting a little bit of the ag ed touch. We're able to share our findings, share what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, and kind of some of the end of the season measurables. So it's a good kind of melding of the different passions.
So people that aren't involved in agriculture, they they see the cornfields, they see the bean fields. What they probably don't realize is that there's so many different genetics and varieties that a farmer like myself has to choose between. You've got different maturities, some that are ready in like 95 days, some that are ready in 114, and you've got some that are really good healthy, but some that'll yield, all these different choices.
Yep.
We don't know what to do, so we rely on someone like you.
Exactly.
So don't screw it up.
I'll try not to, and that's, our average location will have around 120 different hybrids out there.
That's crazy.
Because each of our maturity sets usually have 30 entries in them, and usually most of our locations are 3 to 4 maturities.
Well, if you said what, Barris and Jenna, and what was the other one?
Brevant, so
okay, so
the old Dow company.
Yeah, I mean you've got the big boys.
Yep, and then we've got Pioneer thrown in as a competitive check as well. So.
Oh, they snuck their way in one way or another, didn't they?
Yep.
And that's interesting too. Explain what a check is in a plot.
So as we look as an industry, you always kind of like you started out with the bias of the data. So we want to have something in there to compare and have a measurable against just ourselves, how we're comparing. So the check's out there just showing just kind of where somebody else in the industry's at.
Mm-hmm. So you obviously are a busy individual, but yet you take a lot of time out of your schedule to develop your leadership. Why do you do that?
So a lot of it is just, if you're familiar with the 7 habits, so, the last habit's sharpening the saw. So you
7 habits.
So Dr. Stephen Covey's got the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, and a lot of people have kind of leveraged that and throughout, and the last habit is actually sharpening the saw. So to be the best version of ourselves, we've got to keep pushing ourselves to be better. So, part of that, sharpening the saw, if you got an hour to cut down a tree, I'm going to take the first 45 minutes to sharpen the saw.
You just pay someone to do it?
You could do that too.
I like that whole cruise control. Just never really worry about the future.
That works for some.
Generally not. So the first one you've gone, well, we're going to talk about is ALOT, Agriculture Leaders of Tomorrow. I've been through that.
Yep.
That's a Farm Bureau one.
Yep, that's a Farm Bureau one. So that was I believe it was 8 weeks. Like you said, sponsored by Illinois Farm Bureau. My county Farm Bureau was kind enough to sponsor me through it. Mm-hmm. A lot of just, entry level, learn how state government works, also learn a lot about the different resources in Farm Bureau and just how we can leverage the connections, some time in communications, just how we can help convey the message and advocacy.
They also, I thought was interesting, they taught me how to eat.
The good old etiquette dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny, but you don't realize that you're eating wrong. It's sometimes like the wrong fork. It's not just that, but like the little subtle things that now I notice.
Right.
But I had no clue before.
It's amazing how we kind of get stuck in our routines and, what we think is normal and right really isn't.
Because they're like, if you're going to get a burrito from the gas station, you should take it out of the package before you eat it. Just don't open the end and then eat it. Take it out of the package like a civilized human being.
Right.
A lot of time, a lot spent on like communication. Are you a natural communicator, or did you learn that?
I learned a lot of it, so I kind of joke that to a certain extent I've always felt like I was really an introvert, don't like to talk, do interviews and stuff, but I think through ALOT and then ultimately ILF, I've kind of become an extroverted introvert that, at this point I'm not so afraid to have the communication and, have the conversations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you went through ALOT, and then okay, I'm just going to say it seems like the next step. I know it's not planned out this way because of different organizations, but you go through ALOT, then you go through Illinois Ag Leadership Program. That is not a Farm Bureau program.
That is not a Farm Bureau program. So it is hosted by the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation. Started in the 80s because I felt like there was a need to develop the next generation of leaders for Illinois agriculture. So, Illinois Farm Bureau is a sponsor along with, John Deere, Case, Illinois Corn, Illinois Soy.
Pretty much everybody in agriculture.
Exactly.
Yeah. They all, and when you say to sponsor, I mean, how many people were in your class?
My class was the COVID class. We only had 19.
Oh, you got dinked.
We got dinked, and we got an extra year in the program. So we kind of joke we were a little slow on the leadership. So
you were in there for 3 years?
We were in there for 3 years because my class should have started in August of 2020, and they actually delayed our launch, so we did a year virtually before we actually kicked off with the true program.
Well, I'm glad they did an extra because that that wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
The way everything is locked down, a lot of the stuff that they do in that program, the rooms we get into, it would not have been as impactful virtually.
Yeah. So why do something because that is a major time commitment. I've gone through it, and I remember having the discussions with my wife. I'm like, this is all the time that I'm going to be gone, and it was a lot.
Yep. I think a lot of it is, putting yourself out there. My class of 19, lifelong friends out of it. The other beautiful thing about it is, as an industry, such a diverse background within the class, we'd have a lot of hard conversations and get some differing opposing opinions and really hash it out as a class. They're kind of in a safe area that you don't have to worry about somebody calling you an idiot, but just, how can we talk through this? How can we attack the issue head on and figure out a path forward?
Yeah. Which classmate did you like the least?
I'm not going to say that. So
it's leadership right there. Did you see how he handled that question? That's leadership. Somebody came to mind now.
Absolutely not. So I highly value all of my fellow classmates. So, there's something to learn from everybody.
That program, there's 2 big trips. I don't know if you did them because of COVID, but the first one you go to DC.
Yep.
Did you do that?
We did go to DC. We were actually one of the first, kind of every office we went into, we were told, you're really the first big group we've had in since everything's opened back up.
You have to wear a mask.
We did in DC, yes.
Yeah. I mean, great.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see the politician because honestly, you're telling them about what you're farming at, and you could probably see their eyes roll, but you couldn't see their facial.
Right. You couldn't read, facial expressions, and it was just hard. The other thing that I really struggled with in the mask and the conversations is a lot of times you kind of watch facial expressions pick up if somebody's getting ready to chime in, or
especially a politician.
Right.
Okay. Did you do the whole? Did you do the monuments at night?
We did do that.
That is the coolest. If you've ever been to Washington D.C., you definitely have to do the monuments. I suggest at night because they're lit up and there's not quite as many people.
Right.
around.
Crowds are a lot more down,
Yeah.
and just a lot more beautiful experience.
What all did you do in D.C.?
So, visited the FSA office, spent some time with AFBF, American Farm Bureau Federation, was at Crop Life's building, met with our legislators, got in with the senators, just generally got in with most agencies in D.C. that impact ag.
Okay. Then it ends in like is it a 2-week?
Yep, a 2-week international is the capstone of the program.
Where'd you go?
We went to Western Europe. So
Okay.
started out in the UK, went to France, and then Belgium, and ended in the Netherlands.
And what was going on at the time?
So it was really interesting because if you remember the farm protests going on when the
Yeah.
farmers are storming the streets of Brussels and stuff.
Still are, yeah.
Yep. So we were actually there. We were in Brussels the day before one of the big tractor brigades came into town. So
Really?
We kind of lucked out that
you should have hung out.
we should have waited maybe another day, but had a pretty tight schedule we had to keep. So, but it's interesting because as the leadership of the organization was looking, they wanted us to go to Western Europe because there's a lot of stuff that Europe's on the cutting edge as far as renewable energies, and also some of the fertility regulations and stuff. So they wanted us to go hear from the farmers and how some of that was impacting their operations.
Gotcha. With this leadership, I mean, you've done some things. You're a county president, right? Christian County Farm Bureau president.
Yep.
How long you been doing that?
Just started year number 7.
7?
Yep.
How long are you going to go?
Our board term limits it at 10 years, so I guess I don't know if I'll make it to 10 or not, but
I've heard things.
have you?
Yeah.
Is our queue coming
It
out?
ain't looking good. No, it's a county level, not the state. We'll let that go.
New topics.
What have you found with that? Have you enjoyed it?
I've enjoyed it as a whole. So actually, my county board, when I was elected, we had term limits at 4 years. Kind of conversations were come, it takes you a couple of years to kind of get your feet wet.
4 years is not quite enough.
It's short.
Yeah.
And so my board actually changed our bylaws to go to 10. Just, they felt like I was finally finding my voice and was able to stand up and help convey the message of the member.
Oh, you were the reason they changed it.
I don't know if it wasn't they could have found a new sucker to step into the role, or if they liked the job I was doing.
Yeah,
so.
they could. How big of a board do you have?
We've got a sliding scale. Currently, we've got 14 directors.
Ooh, that's a lot of opinions to corral.
It is, but as we're looking at what's doing best for the membership, having a bigger board is good to really hash some stuff out, and we can really vet some ideas. And you've always got somebody in the room willing to play devil's advocate.
Which board member do you like the least?
Once again, not giving you that answer.
Once again, somebody popped right into your damn mind.
Absolutely not. I love my board.
Have you had to use the gavel to tell them to shut up?
I have gotten to the point now the gavel is coming to my seat with me. First year or two, I did not bring the gavel, and now the gavel is definitely needed to keep the train on tracks.
Putting the hammer down.
Occasionally
Thor
it's
is
needed.
in charge now, people.
Yes.
I'm going to assume that on your board there are several members that are your senior.
Yep.
Is it hard? Is it hard to try to corral people that have much more experience than you do?
At times, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, it's also important to value their opinions and, make sure that they can speak their piece or speak what's on their mind, because they've been there and done that, and they can actually provide some pretty valuable insights.
Yeah. You should run for office. You're good at this stuff.
Let's not.
Maybe we should test you some more. Again, who was the least one you liked?
Not going there.
Okay. What's his name rhyme with?
Sharky.
Okay. All right. You wanna be that way. So that puts you when you're a Farm Bureau president, county. I mean, that puts you doing a lot of stuff on the state level too, or a chance to. Have you done that?
Yep. So, as a county president, the resolutions is all member driven. So county presidents rotate through to serve on resolutions committee. And then actually currently I'm serving on the OMS, or Organizational Membership Strategy Advisory Committee for Illinois Farm Bureau.
What is that?
So as we're looking at, changing demographics, we're not getting to have any more farmers in the state of Illinois. So we recognize as an organization we're going to have to evolve and do things maybe to change what we've been historically to what we're going to be tomorrow, to make sure that we're still a relevant organization moving forward. So that's OMS is looking on just helping, how do we draw that roadmap to keep us relevant?
So you're trying to keep the hippies out. Is that what it is?
No, we're not trying to keep the hippies out. We're trying to make sure we've got a place for all the farmers in the state of Illinois.
It is a fine line, because, a lot of people coming into agriculture are not what you and I might think of as traditional farmers. These people are doing it in a different way, and they're crushing it. And their voice and their vote is just as important and valuable as yours and mine, which might mean that what we think is a traditional farm group might be changing.
Yes, and that's, I think that's one of the big, I don't know if I'd say a fear in the organization, but just as you listen to some, maybe that's been a concern historically. I know they talked, probably 10 years ago plus, when they added the professional membership class, that they're afraid the professional members are going to overrule the voice of the farmer member.
Yeah.
And, now as we're looking as an organization, we're having a lot more of the small niche markets and, specialty growers coming in, they deserve a seat at the table.
I don't like change.
Who does?
Literally, you're on this committee. Just go on there next time. Say, let's stop changing. You have a gavel.
Not in that meeting, I don't.
You can take one with you. A farmer is a farmer, and we have to work together to ensure the consumer is comfortable with our practices. Do we really?
We do. As an industry, we've got an image, I won't say an image to protect, but we've definitely got a message to convey. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our land is safe to the next generation. We want to make sure that the products, the food, fuel, and fiber that we're raising is safe. Mm-hmm. So, and at the end of the day, whether you're raising corn and soybeans in central Illinois, or you're raising vegetables in a old brownfield plot in the city of Chicago, you're still producing, and a farmer is a farmer.
What's this?
That's actually a picture of my dog Birdie and the old combine at home.
Dog what? What's this?
Her name's Birdie.
Birdie.
Yep.
She a bird dog?
She's not. She's an Australian Shepherd.
Oh, okay. I don't understand that combine is red.
It is. So I come from a long line of red iron.
Honestly, I don't know what to say right now. I feel bad for you.
Why would that be?
Anyway, it's a cool picture. It's a cool. How old's your dog now?
She's 3.
Oh, she's a puppy.
She's out of the puppy stage finally, so.
I don't know. 3's pretty young.
At least she's mellowed out.
Okay. Well, that's.
We've made it through the shredding stage, and now she's just loyal by the side and do what she's supposed to do most days.
What is roots apart?
So Fields Apart, Rooted Together was actually a docuseries that Illinois Farm Bureau put out a year ago, highlighting the similarities between urban agriculture and traditional, rural ag. So kind of like I mentioned there earlier, a farmer is a farmer. And as an industry, we decided, as an organization too, we decided to start actually looking at the message. It's easy to always say why downstate Illinois and, Chicago are different. But this docuseries is actually really striving to show why we're similar and the similarities in agriculture, whether you're in Cook County or Christian County or anywhere in the state.
Who do you think gets that the least? Do you think farmers don't understand that, or do you think our city friends don't understand that?
I honestly think it's the true traditional farmers that don't understand the struggles, the similarities as much. Kind of like you mentioned, it's hard to change. So when we look at our, traditional farmer member, yes, they've always thought of to be a farmer, you got to raise corn, soybeans, cattle, and hogs. But they're not looking at the challenges faced, in the city of Chicago. They face the same regulations. They actually face some tougher regulations than we face. They've still got to have the consumer buy-in. Lack of rain or too much rain ruins their crop just like it ruins ours.
Every year, Illinois Farm Bureau has their meeting up there in Chicago.
Yep.
And when I was in Farm Bureau, a lot of complaints. It's like, why are we doing this? It costs. You could have it Springfield, Bloomington, probably for I don't know what percentage of the cost. I always defended going up to Chicago for the main reason is sometimes our farmer members, it was the only time they would go to Chicago. They just, to understand Chicago, you have to go there. And I understand you're only going to the downtown. You're not really, get embraced in it, but at least it's something.
Right. And the other nice part about it is, as we look at Illinois and the levels, a lot of our legislators come from Chicago. So it's amazing how many legislators drop in and actually have conversations with our farmer members, while we're in Chicago.
Yeah. Out of all those legislators, which one do you like the least?
Not going there again.
I could name several. But it's even the little nuances in that. I remember, there would be farmers that were on the local county farm bureau, and we convinced them to come up to Chicago, and it was just like, they're always looking up, and they're talking about their cab ride over, or they're talking about the person that served them or whatever. It's just such an experience that I think the more we do that as farmers, the more we get outside our own fence post, the better we're going to understand the people that are trying to buy what we produce.
Exactly. And, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because last year one of our delegates, we had to joke about Uber safety because we actually had a member got into a car that was not actually an Uber. They were pretending to be an Uber, and they got to the destination, and the guy wanted cash for the ride and had to hurry up and improvise. We had a real good talk about safety.
Well, you could. It was illegal. You could just left. What was he going to do? Call the cops?
So
probably packing now. You know how those city people are.
Yeah.
Well, what do you hope for the future of agriculture?
I think at the end of the day, the future of ag, we just need to learn how to continue to work together. So I think whether you're raising corn, whether you're raising organic, whether you're raising some vegetables, we're all in the industry together, wanting to make sure that we're doing right by the consumer and continue to make sure that we protect Illinois' #1 industry.
Yeah. And do you think we'll be able to?
I think that's a very real possibility and opportunity.
It's going to take people like yourself that, not only have the ability to communicate, but have been helped, trained. I hate that word trained.
It's kind of a weird word.
I know. But, you've had people help you along the way, kind of know it. When you say this, it doesn't necessarily sound good. But when you say this, that really conveys the message. Yep. We got to be open for that as people in agriculture.
Right. And really, we can't be afraid to have the hard conversations either. So, you can't always just be comfortable. Sometimes you need to have that hard conversation and kind of get to the root of the matter and find the common ground to move forward.
Yeah. Maybe we should get a vegan on this show.
That sounds like a good opportunity for a future episode.
And then maybe we could actually listen to what they say instead of trying to convert them.
That would be a really good idea.
I don't think so, because I don't like change. But that's the type of mindset we do need to work on. Obviously, everybody thinks that their mindset is the right mindset, and that is not going to win over any type of argument.
No, and at the end of the day, it's finding that common ground that you can move forward with.
Okay. Matt, Owaneco. That's kind of fun. Is there a school there?
There is not. It's consolidated in Taylorville.
Where'd you go to high school?
Taylorville.
What was the mascot?
The tornado.
Well, on that note, Matt, I want to thank you for not only coming on the show, but for all you do for agriculture. I'm glad, as a farmer, that there's people out there like you that are trying to improve the way they're able to communicate. It means a lot. You doing what you are doing is actually helping me on my farm, so I want to thank you for that. Matt, thank you very much. Everybody else, we'll catch you next time.